TV. And if you're looking for something fun to do with the kiddos, then you can take them to see a new theater production at Mississippi State. It's called Pants on Fire, and that's kind of how I live my life. So I want to see how they turned it into a production. David and Ryan are the directors for the theater MSU's coming up, their children's show, Pants on Fire. They're joining us to tell us more. Hey, David and Ryan.
Hey, Rebecca. How's it going?
Hi.
It is going well. I love the name of your show or production, and I also love the image of jeans on fire up a flagpole. It kind of reminds me, I was trying to think of the show, it reminded me of Salute Your Shorts when we were kids. But y'all may not be young enough to remember that show. But tell us about Pants on Fire. What is this all about?
So Pants on Fire is a show that was made in Crete, Colorado, and this is the first time it's been done outside of there, here in Mississippi or anywhere. And it's an improvised children's musical. So the show is entirely made up from the 6 actors, and every different show, a different one of them is the protagonist of the story, a different one of them is the villain, and so on.
Oh, that's a lot of fun. So every show's different.
Yes, so we take audience suggestions from the kids before we start each performance. We've got buckets with suggestions such as lines that the performers could say or jobs that they could have. And the most important one is the name of the hero. So we get all those from the kiddos before they start the show, and then they draw from those throughout, and that helps them build the world and the story that they tell.
And for the actors and actresses on stage, I mean, this is also an exciting, exhilarating time too. Because, I mean, I guess are they prepared, knowing what may be in the buckets, what they should be prepared for, or is it completely like caught off guard, kind of like? Now I'm thinking of the impromptu show that's so funny that everybody enjoys, where you don't know what's coming and you do have to get it off the top of your head.
Yep, they've really got to be prepared for anything that could be in those buckets, and so they've got to find a way to take and twist whatever those kids decide to write down that morning and turn it into a story.
So how do you direct something you don't know what's going to happen?
So the way this show is laid between, there's an outline that we did have of 7 scenes, and every scene, there's an objective the characters have to kind of reach to. So, for example, there's always a hero, and the hero always has some sort of want or desire. There's always a villain that directly opposes their want. There's always a moment where the villain banishes the hero. There's always a moment when the good sidekick sacrifices something for the hero to accomplish their mission. So a lot of this process was rehearsing with less structure, and then as we were stumbling upon problems through runs and through practices, we would add on more things that we'd be like, okay, so this is how this is generally going to go, and then this is how we can utilize suggestions in this way. It was pretty fluid, and we had to figure a lot out as we went. But it was a great educational process for not only the actors but us as directors as well.
I imagine the kids who are your audience absolutely loves this, but this would be fun for adults too. I mean, I know this is probably geared towards their age frame with probably the character choice or names or scenarios, but I mean, why can't you do this for I guess more mature content? I mean, not too mature, but mature content.
Yeah, so the kids have been really enjoying it. We just wrapped one of our children's shows this morning. We have one at 9:30, and it's really just beautiful to see these kids get super passionate about a show that they feel like they've had a hand in creating as well.
And the other thing I would like to say is that this show, mainly we've taught them to be able to read the room. And so last night we had a community show, and it was a little more adult or more wittier, more wordplay was used than a show like a children's show would be. And this is also in conjunction with Lab Rats Improv Comedy, the student improv group on campus that we are both members of as well. And Lab Rats, they have shows which are geared for mature audiences about every other Friday.
What is the theater community like at Mississippi State? I mean, often we hear about, Mississippi State being the school for agriculture or some other things which are great, engineering, all that. But it sounds like you've got a thriving arts school as well, particularly in theater. Is that where you two guys fit, or is this more of like not a hobby, but sort of a side for you?
Yes. So Ryan and I are both senior theater majors at Mississippi State. And this has been the world that we've been living in for the past 4 years. We've really gotten to know this community and the arts and music scene here in Starkville and on Mississippi State campus. And it's really important to us and the faculty here at Mississippi State University that we put on a children's show each year, because it's really important for us to have that outreach to younger audiences so that we can inspire the next generation of theater artists like ourselves.
How old were each of you when you first got on stage and tried theater?
I must have been 5.
Yeah, I was between 3 and 5. My mom was a theater major graduate from Mississippi State back in the day, and so I've known nothing else pretty much all my life.
Well, y'all are unique. Most kids don't have that kind of access to a theater that are that young, or at least they're not. Their parents are not aware of it. Let's put it that way. So you've got parents and grandparents listening, David and Ryan. If they have that kid at home that seems like, man, they really need to be on a stage, or shows interest in being part of a theater, or you could see that this would grow up and be something they may, want to do, how would you get them connected within their community, or what would be sort of a first step for them? Obviously, coming to see a show would be great, but next step.
I think one of the biggest things is also just consuming theater and getting those kids to have that passion at an early age, and that's really what we are inspired to do as artists is to show those kids that you can create beautiful art like this, and especially through improv. Improv is kind of a newer art form that many kids have not been exposed to, and I was not exposed to until I got to college. And so really seeing that theater can be made from nothing and just using your imagination is really cool as well. And some resources for some people who want to get involved in theater. Like I said, just watching theater, but I also know there are shows, children's shows that get produced in the Golden Triangle area. I think at least once a year. I've got some family friends who are budding young theater artists in about middle school, and they've had the chance to be a part of some really cool productions. Columbus
Theater does children's shows, and then also there are children programs for theater in this area as well. And then especially with the Starkville Area Arts Council, they put on events, not just necessarily for theater, but they will do performance-related things, as well as, you typically hear about like their arts and fine arts related stuff, but they'll do performances with music or with other things, and any sort of community performance type thing where you can see a show and then talk to the performers afterwards. That's all connected and all in the same boat as traditional theater that you typically think of.
And then New Stage here in Central Mississippi has great summer camps too for kids, just putting that out there for parents. But we want folks to come and support you guys and what y'all are doing there with Pants on Fire there in Starkville. So how many showings are left, or how can we get our tickets? Get us there.
So after today, we have one showing left, and that is Sunday at 2 p.m. matinee, and you can get tickets at events.msstate.edu.
Will y'all be doing this again throughout the year, or will we have to wait till next year?
We would love to, but unfortunately, we'll have to wait for our children's show next year.
So how hard was it, or scary was it, should I say, the first time you both got up there for impromptu?
I would say very frightening. The first time that I ever did improv was at an audition for Lab Rats Comedy, and I didn't know what I was doing, but I had to get in touch with my childlike sense of wonder and go back to the days of playing pretend and using my imagination, and it paid off. It paid off very well because I've made a career out of it.
I would say kids are already doing this. I mean, they don't realize it, right? And it's just harnessing what they're already sort of doing amongst their friends and the little stories or scenarios or games that they're making up, the wonderlands they find themselves in. And as parents or caregivers or grandparents, sort of harnessing that and sort of letting them know that there's a cooler, not a cooler, but a different way or another avenue to sort of let that express itself. All right, where do we go for tickets? You mentioned that, or finding more information on what you guys are up to.
Yes, ma'am. Events.msstate.edu, and you can also check out Theater MSU's Facebook and Instagram pages, and there's plenty more information there, some cool pictures, and lots of resources.
All righty. Well, can I say break a leg? Is that still appropriate?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Well, you guys break a leg, and thank you for your time and all that y'all are doing there within your department at Starkville.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
Yeah. All right. You guys stick with us. We got more good for you coming up next.